And here we are for round one. Playing against Joe Cool, aka Beta Fan, or Beta Fan. Also known as giver of door prizes at MPDC. Everybody at SPDC wants door prizes too, Joe Cool. Let's see him sometime. Anyway, this hand's great. We have good lands and good ways to interact. Super ways things, spell shrivel it on the way back down. Well, I tend to lead off with the dual land rather than evolving wilds because we do evolving wilds for island, but then when we play the dual land next turn, we wouldn't have red open. So this lets us have red open as well as blue open, which is sometimes relevant if we draw a Fiery Impulse and they have targets. Draw Arc Lightning. So now I play the wilds. He is confused. No mono black control. And he learns. He should know. I never play a deck 2 weeks in a row. The only time I play a deck 2 weeks in a row is if, like, I win the event. Like, I might run it back. He's got a 2-mana 1/3 flyer. He might have some ally synergies or support synergies, because I think this card could be good if you put some support on it, because it's not really aggressive. But let's see what he does. Morph, yeah, that is going to get spell shriveled. It is a Misthoof Kieran. Not that good. It's only 2 toughness, so it just dies to every removal spell in the format, so I don't really see that card as being super playable. Even if it, like, stays in play, it's the same size as a Volturous Haven. It can't even attack past that, so yep. So here we are, breaking on land drops. Haven't drawn a land since turn 0 in our opening hand, so I'm compelled to take 1 per turn. And if I hold open mana, he doesn't know any better. He thinks my deck is just 15 counter spells, so he's compelled to cast nothing. He could very well have removal spells stuck in hand and stuff too, but nope. He must think I'm just mono control deck with counter spells, so I'll spell shrivel anything in the early game. Really doesn't matter. So Drew Cruz, that's a fine draw. I mean, I just would not mind hitting lands until I hit my 5th land. Once I hit my 5th land, I think I'm fine. So now that we have 2 spells in the graveyard, I'll end a turn, Fire Impulse that, and at least gets a card out of his hand, and Shrouding Mist protects it. So I'm fine with that. Don't really care. We hit our land drop, which is pretty great. And I don't Treasure Cruise yet because I don't want to discard. Still, he has no pressure on us. We get another land. He hits some lands. He's kind of flooded and or full of blank cards. So now we can end of turn start our beats of Chandra's Furying him. You might think this is not the best play. It's not killing anything, and it's just dealing 4 to the face. The reason why it's good is because we just want to fill our graveyard for Treasure Cruise, and we have plenty of other burn spells in our hand already and in our deck. So time to Treasure Cruise. So we get rid of our graveyard and pay 2 mana to draw 3 cards. Pretty sweet. Guess I already played my land before. Bit of a misplay. I want to play those. Comes into play tap lands a little bit sooner, but he has Tormenting Voice, discarding Fiery Impulse, which is a blank, so he's like hoping to draw gas. Any gas? Any gas? Send step back cast. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. He chooses to put a +1/+1 counter on it. While the trigger is on the stack, I will play Chandra's Fury. Good timing. So this forces him to have some sort of feat of resistance to save his guy, and even if he does so, I can kill it with Fiery Impulse. So again, we're just like taxing his feat of resistances, yeah. So that's fine. He's going to have a 4/3 and a 1/3. I get to Fiery Impulse his guy. I could touch avoid the other one, but I really don't think I care about 1 damage per turn. Maybe I kill it. Yeah. I guess I just hit it with touch the void. I figure the more turns of him doing nothing is the better. That's kind of a misplay. I shouldn't have played my land there just in case I draw a Tormenting Voice. Because I don't really want to discard any of my spells. Alright, now I drew land. Okay, now I'll hold my land. Nah, and I only really need 1 land in hand. I don't want to discard. So I'll go to 7. And it's land go, it's land go. So we're getting to the point where I might have to discard. Playing 1 threat out at a time is not going to do him very well. So my play here is, I don't know, Pyrotechnics it for 2. And 2 to him. This also allows me to follow up if he has any protection spell to just have an instant speed removal. So I'll just probably respond with Twin Bolt. And that kills it, so he just really doesn't have ways to interact. So we have 6 points of burn in hand. He's at 12 life, so just looking for the last few points. So Arc Lightning his guys, deal a couple extra points. Samcrafter Mage, just kill it while the bolster's on the stack. We pretty much know he doesn't have any other protection spells, which is why we're just kind of raw dogging these removal spells out. Drew a land, so we can finally pitch this Tormenting Voice. Voice into another land is pretty good, because it just keeps the pattern alive. Guess we drew Evolving Wild, Chandra's Fury, so now we have 7 points of damage, and he's dead to most burn spells in our deck. What did he say? Oh, he had to go to the bathroom. Gave him some time. No big deal. And we just hit him with Chandra's Fury, end of turn, I believe. Yep. And then we drew the lethal burn spell. Still had all these sweepaways. So with 7 cards in his hand to end that game, again, another thing to check, we ended up 8 cards. I guess there's some Evolving Wilds in the mix there. But we saw more cards than he did. We were probably searched out some more lands, and we had all these time walks at the ready as well. Oop. Let's go to here. Alright, so something that I really wish Moto would do would be to show you how sideboarding went for game 1 and game 2, but I'm pretty sure I just brought in like Negate and Dispel, not Disdainful Stroke, not Claustrophobia, I don't think. And I think I brought in Valakut Invoker and Ruin Processor, because I expect him to take his removal spells out. This is a 1-lander. This is a mulligan. This is a 2-lander with some early removal and Treasure Cruise. So this is the keep, hoping to hit land on top of library. Slipwater Cliff says perfect, and we will keep that. And we will play it. And so his turn 2 is Anok Bondkin, and we conveniently draw the Twin Bolt. And again, in the effort to just keep our life total high, I'll just Twin Bolt it right away and deal 1 to him. I like tapping out just because, rather than playing Firing Impulse, just because you want to be mana efficient, and having Fiery Impulse in our hand still makes us able to do more things later in the game. So here he plays a Morph on 3 with only white lands, so pretty easy. Fiery Impulse, kill it, play our Evolving Wilds, crack for a blue for Bone to Ash. I might have taken out Bone to Ash against him though, just because he's so aggressive. Here, little awkward, only 3 cards in our graveyard. I think we want to really hit our land drop this turn, and it gets closer to Sleepaway, so I think I'm going to Tormenting Voice to discard Negate. Since Negate, you know, it'd be nice to hit Fiery Impulse right here too. Ooh. Those are both not good draw steps. Those are both cards that we do not want right now, so we have nothing to do. Now he has a 3/3 beating us down, and he hit red, so basically the worst possible for us. But he doesn't follow it up with a creature, so okay. Makes me think he's got some protection spells in hand, or whatever he's running red for. Maybe some removal spells, so we hit a land, which is pretty perfect, which allows us to... I think I'm just going to tap out and leave one spell in our graveyard for Treasure Cruise, because unless if I hit Fiery or Impulse, then it wouldn't really do anything. So we have a full grip again. And we get to hit our 5th land drop, which is pretty great. And here... what do I do here? I guess I just leave Sweep Away plus Dispel and Bone to Ash up. And so when he goes to attack and block, I go for Sweep Away, because I figure if he has 1 feat, I can at least beat it. If he uses a 2nd feat, then I might be in a problem world. But at least I can counter 1. Now here's my play. So I Sweep Away, he has feat, I Dispel. If he has 2nd feat, it's okay, because I can untap and Pyrotechnics it, since it'll only be a 4/4. So I go for the Sweep Away, he has the feat, I have the Dispel. Could have been Negate, but Dispel's fine. And put that card on top of your library. That's a really nice thing we got going on now. He did have a follow-up creature, but it's only 1 power. Again, if that creature was just more power, it'd be a problem. So we hit a land drop. We get to hold 5 mana open for Chandra's Fury and Bone to Ash open for this Sandstep Outcast, which we know he has. So definitely going to Bone to Ash that. Draw into Treasure Cruise, which is perfect. We have 5 cards in our graveyard, so it only costs 3, and we'll still have 4 mana open for when we Treasure Cruise. Hit Tormenting Voice and 3 lands. Now, I don't have 5 mana open, but I do have 4. And I believe he might be willing to play around Bone to Ash and Spell Shrivel. So I choose not to play Tormenting Voice in this spot, hoping that he just passes the turn after attacking for 1. And he does. Maybe he had nothing, but I figured that was a fine play. Because now I can Tormenting Voice. Comes into play tap land. And run the same playback of leaving mana open. Again, kind of painting the narrative to him that I have counter spells. And he does not want to play into them. This lets me fire off a Fury. I'm going to be refueling my hand as fast as possible, so every card in the graveyard is better. So Tormenting Voice, ship a land. Now we actually draw into the counter spell, which is pretty great. He's going to have to play into it eventually, because dealing 1 a turn is not going to help. Here, again, only 6 cards in graveyard. I want a 7, so I'm just going to Twin Bowl him to the face. Bolt him. So now we can Treasure Cruise for 1 mana. Boom, boom, boom. Draw into Fury Touch. So we have 4, 7, 11, 14, 18, 22 plus X. We have a lot of burn in hand. So now the game's essentially over. We just need to exit all these spells from our hand. So when we go touch, and we go face, we're basically just racing. So he takes that opportunity to lay down a feat, try to put his beats in, and again, his beats are just not fast enough. So here we can end the game, kill his creature. I guess I didn't know. I don't know if there's any life gain that he could have, but I just figured I'd play a little bit safer. Kill his creature. Just control the board a little bit more. Then Fury him end of turn, and then Fury again. I guess we put that on top, then Fury. Fury on the with the +1/+1 counter on the stack, getting all sorts of value. Win the game value. Okay, so play some burn spells. Got there. All right. Stay tuned for round 2.